What's going on, Arizona sports fan family? How are we doing out here today on this Friday morning? How's everybody doing out here today? Hopefully you guys are having a fantastic Friday morning. Well, as of right now, we are 6 days away from the NFL draft, or at least the start of the NFL draft. Absolutely great times right now, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot of excitement in the air for Cardinals fans, for just NFL fans, just in general. And today we're going to be talking about, obviously, the trade down rumors, what Monti Ossenfort has recently said about the trade down rumors, because you better bet your bottom dollar. The fact that the media keeps asking the same questions over and over again, but it's rightfully so, right? We are getting closer to the draft, and it's very, very important information because of the fact that the Arizona Cardinals are sitting at the 4th overall pick. There's so much speculations out there. There's so much different opinions on what the Arizona Cardinals should do. Should they get Marvin Harrison Jr. and not overthink it? Should they trade back and continue to get more first round picks, right? There's so many people out there that putting in their 2 cents in it that there just kind of leaves a lot of room for interpretation to, hey, maybe the Cardinals can do this. Maybe the Cardinals can do this. And every time I kind of hear about maybe a trade back scenario, there's a lot of different kind of things kind of going through my mind. But as of right now, I am still sticking to my guns, and I hope that the Arizona Cardinals stay at 4 and pick Marvin Harrison Jr. But in the end of the day, we do not know what's going to happen 1 through 3. Although most people feel like we already know what the Commanders and the Bears are going to do. There is still a wild card in the Patriots, which I still do feel like 75, 85 to 90%. They are going to go quarterback. But at the end of the day, Monty doesn't 100% know. The Arizona Cardinal fans don't 100% know. So we are in this situation right now where we're just kind of waiting, right? Right now we are playing the waiting game. And I'm here for it. Let me just do a real quick shout out here to the people that are currently in the chat. We got Classy, we got Uncanny, we got Daniel, we got Fishbowl, Jude, Kevin, Marco, Pat, Dakota. What's up, y'all? Appreciate y'all for being here in the chat. Obviously, everybody here in the Twitter/X world, appreciate y'all for being here as well. And obviously the YouTube world, you could do me a huge favor, smack up the like button, do it for the algorithm, make sure that everybody's fully aware that we are currently live right now. And if you do want to follow me on other social platforms, everything will be in the description below. But let's get started, everybody. Let's go ahead and start the show, shall we? Now, let's go and start off here by, we do have some most recent comments about what Monti Ossenfort ended up saying, and we're going to be diving into that here pretty soon. But I want to kind of give you a glimpse of kind of what I've been hearing. A lot of kind of people out there, saying this, saying that, and it's kind of to the point where I'm like, I'm trying to get off of social media because there's just so many opinions out there, and it's kind of getting to the point where I'm like, I don't know exactly what to think. But we ended up getting Jordan Schultz coming out here, a very, very reliable source. I believe he actually works for Bleacher Report, and we actually do see him on a lot of big national shows out there as well. He ended up putting a tweet out there that kind of got a lot of Cardinals fans like scratching their head. And this is exactly what he said here. He says, lots of options for the Arizona Cardinals, who currently hold both the 4th and 27th overall. I believe it's going to take a pretty significant haul to leave 4, but it's still a possibility. Expecting them to add another offensive line and address corners sooner than later. Arizona has 11 total picks. Now, if you look at the bottom, this is a retweet from what he actually said originally down there in the bottom. And the bottom part says, something worth watching at the Arizona Cardinals trade out of 4. Left tackle is a huge priority to protect Kyler Murray. They could potentially get more draft capital while still being assured of an elite tackle later in the first. So this is kind of one of those things where it's like, right? Like, I know there's some Cardinal fans out there that still do want Joe Alt, right? To me, it doesn't make sense to go after Joe Alt when we got Jonah Williams and we got Paris Johnson Jr., right? Now, we did hear Jonathan Gannon come out and say that we don't know, right? What we don't know, we're not going to tell you guys, right? If the plan is to move Paris Johnson Jr. And I've been talking about that for a year. I've been talking about for probably over a year, which what I would really love is for Paris Johnson to move over to the left and then have obviously whoever we get goes to right. Because a lot of people really truly feel, including myself, because Kyler Murray is a right-handed quarterback, the left hand is his blind side. So you really want to get somebody there that's going to really be able to protect them. And I feel like we got him 6th overall, move him over to the left. That's ideally what I would love. But we've heard Jonathan Gannon come out and say, we don't know. We're not going to know until maybe the start of the regular season. I think they know, but they probably just don't want to provide that information right now. So right now, I don't know. It's just odd, right? There's a lot of people out there, like I said earlier, kind of providing their two, their opinion in the whole matter. I'm not mad at this opinion, but I just don't think left tackle, even if the Cardinals decide to trade back. Now, granted, if they trade back at 11 and stay at 11, then okay, I will give you that, right? If the Cardinals pick at 11, then okay. But I think for right now, most Cardinal fans are saying if the Cardinals trade out, please do everything in your power to trade back up just exactly like we did in the 2023 NFL draft, right? That's exactly what we're hearing Cardinal fans out there. Like, we're not opposed to the fact of trading back, but if that is the possibility, you do want to trade back up to at least get one of the top 3 wide receivers, a Dunze, Neighbors, or a Marvin Harrison Jr., just kind of really depending on who the Cardinals really feel like is their guy. But I don't know. I'm just not the biggest fan of this take personally, because we did get Jonah Williams, because I do hope in a perfect world that we can move Paris Johnson over to the left. I just feel like it would make more sense as opposed to getting another left tackle or getting another back-to-back, offensive lineman, which I'm not mad at. I agree the trenches are very important, but we still have 11 picks at the end of the day, right? We can still very well use another pick on a possible, let's see, maybe JC Latham falls, right? Maybe Tyler Guyton, maybe Jordan Morgan in the 2nd round, right? That has the flexibility to play guard and tackle. So it's just kind of a lot of things out there. And I don't know. It's just, it's really weird. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but there's also another thing that kind of want to show you guys as well. Let me go and just do a real quick screen share of my screen so I can kind of show you what, like, people, I don't know, man. People are just saying anything these days, right? So I ended up retweeting something here on Twitter, which kind of caught my eye. It's from Mr. AZ here on X, and it says this. The Cardinals are not trading Kyler Murray. Please stop with all these embarrassing mock drafts. So the reason why this man says this is because he's got a couple screenshots of people already continuing to talk about, oh, the Cardinals can potentially trade Kyler Murray. It just makes too much sense, right? And this one right here says, New York Giants and the Arizona Cardinals swap for Daniel Jones and Kyler Murray. Like, what in the living heck? Like, no, like, what is going on? Like, this is absolutely wild to see these things out here, right? And the sad thing is that there's some people out here that are really going to buy into it. And just be careful. Just be careful of what you're listening to, right? It's sometimes cool to kind of listen into a read or an article to kind of get a different people's opinion. But at the end of the day, this is kind of how I feel about it.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you something.
We don't care. We don't care, right? Kyler Murray has been told multiple times, or at least per Jonathan Gannon, that they've had very good conversations and that right now for the 2024 season, he is going to be the quarterback. They liked what he done. They've seen some progress within Kyler Murray, and I'm choosing to believe that Kyler Murray is going to be the quarterback in 2024. And I don't believe any of these rumors. These rumors are very, very, I don't know, clickbaity, very, very, just kind of have something to talk about. And I get it. This is the time of smokescreen. So please also keep in mind as that as well. But it's just a lot of crazy things happening right now in the world of the NFL. So just be just be very, very cautious. Let me give a huge shout out here to my channel members of the Arizona Sports Fan here on YouTube. If you want to go the extra mile, we are going to be doing more content, more mock drafts, more exclusive things for channel members moving forward. So I appreciate every one of you guys here for, becoming channel members. I absolutely do appreciate it. Thank you so very much. So let's get started here. Let's talk about, obviously, the continuing of what everybody's talking about. Whenever the Cardinals' name is in people's mouths, it's talking about the potential trade back, right? Now, I've been talking about this for a very, very long time, right? Now, to me, there is 4 teams that are potential trade back candidates for the Arizona Cardinals, and they continue to remain these 4 teams. Now, I guess they are on a specific order. Now, I made this graphic probably about 3-4 weeks ago, but I guess I would probably swap Giants with the Broncos in terms of, I guess, and I'm doing quotes here, realism, right? But these are my potential trade back options for the Cardinals. Now, I want to be very, very clear. I don't want to trade back, right? I'm not one of those guys who are like, trade back, get the haul. I feel like we got a lot of picks, and I feel like the Cardinals should stay up 4 and potentially get one of the best wide receivers in the NFL draft. But I digress. These are the potential trade back options for the Cardinals, right? Minnesota has been very, very rumored. The fact that they have 11 and 23 it is a very, very real possibility for them to get a quarterback, right? We heard Denver come out and say, or at least Sean Payton come out and say that, yes, it's very realistic for them to come back or trade up to get a quarterback. Now, he did make some comments a little earlier, I believe it was yesterday. We're going to go ahead and dive into that here in a little bit. We heard the Giants are very, very high on J.J. McCarthy. And then the Raiders are on this list because of the fact that they are a quarterback needy team. Do I see the Raiders make a move like this? Probably not. I think they are the least realistic, but I'm still putting them on this list because of the idea of them wanting to, or at least the fact that they're a quarterback needy team. But these are the top potential trade back options for the Arizona Cardinals. And then we did hear some words from Monti Ossenfort yesterday whenever the media ended up asking him about trade back options, right? Now let's get into a couple of these different reports. We ended up getting something here from Darren Urban, and it says this, GM Monti Ossenfort on his thoughts on the fans favoriting a certain player for their first round pick. Narrative, that would be Marvin Harrison Jr. I think we all kind of know that if you're in the social media realm, there's a big, big, strong push for this man right here in Marvin Harrison Jr. for the Cardinals to potentially go after him. So let's continue the tweet/report. And it says this. This is what Monty said. What I can say is we will do what's best for the team. Everyone has favorites. That goes with the territory. Now, to me, Marvin Harrison Jr. is one of the best things that can happen to this team. It is. It's one of the best things that can happen to this team, to this organization. Even if you're looking at it from a business standpoint, if you want to get fans excited, you get Marvin Harrison Jr., right? And I get it. Like there's some Cardinals fans out there that's saying, well, you're not going to just do that to get a big name in here. Well, yeah. But I mean, also if you're Michael Bidwell and you're really struggling to get season tickets, right? Because I've been telling you guys for this long time, I've seen a very, very strong push from this organization to really get Cardinals fans back in the seats in State Farm Stadium because of the idea of last year just being so terrible, right? Back-to-back 4-win seasons. There's a lot of Cardinal fans that are turned off with this organization. And with what you would really, really need is to get a big splash move like this and get a big-time wide receiver, and why not one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, right? So let's continue to kind of talk about this. We do have a clip here with Monti Ossenfort. He ended up getting asked about the fact that do we still have teams reaching out to us about potentially trading out of that number 4 overall spot. And this is what he said.
Talks with multiple teams, and multiple teams have checked in with us. And, I think the way I look at it is like, guys, I love my house. I love where I live, okay? My wife loves where we live. If all of a sudden there's a knock on my door and someone's going to offer me something, and I'm going to look and see what they're offering me. And if I open that up and it's something I'm not expecting, hey, Shannon, let's go, pack up, it's time to roll. Okay, so, I think, that happens beforehand, it happens on the clock, but, I think, different teams have different motivations, but we'll see how this one plays out next week.
So, as you can tell, right? Obviously, the questions are still being asked about potential trade back options, and it is top of mind for this organization, and as it should be, because the idea of the Arizona Cardinals trading back to some big time analysts, people that really, really, kind of call themselves the big draft gurus. They say, why not, right? Why not get more draft capital for a young roster that's not going to be going to the Super Bowl? But I can make an argument about the Arizona Cardinals potentially getting the number one wide receiver in the NFL and still putting us in a trajectory to make this rebuild a lot faster than it should be, or that it could be, right? I think Marvin Harrison Jr., if we do bring one of the top three, or Marvin Harrison Jr. or one of the top three wide receivers, we can make an argument about staying pat and getting your guy and still making the Arizona Cardinals make a push to the playoffs, right? Now, I don't think playoffs are in a lot of fans' minds out there. There's some Cardinal fans out there that are thinking that, hey, maybe, right? The NFC is still weak, right? I don't think we have a powerhouse like the AFC does. So the Cardinals can make a big impact, right? Just kind of really depending on what happens, right? Aaron Donald is no longer there. In the Rams, we got the Seattle Seahawks going to a completely different regime. Their quarterback is most likely going to be rolling with Geno Smith. Can they get a quarterback in the draft? Possibly, right? Now, the idea of the San Francisco 49ers running it back again is still a real possibility, but they might lose Brandon Ayuk, right? Now, I know that there's some content creators out there or people that cover the 49ers that are not worried about the idea of Brandon Ayuk leaving or getting traded away, but if he hasn't got an extension yet, people are still going to talk about maybe losing their best potential wide receiver or all-around wide receiver on that roster. So, this is an opportunity for the Arizona Cardinals to potentially strike, right? Now, free agency, I get it. A lot of people weren't really excited about it. We didn't get the big names out there, but we did get some pieces that were really going to give us an oomph heading into 2024. Adding a player like Marvin Harrison Jr. will only do the Arizona Cardinals justice. It will only do the Arizona Cardinals justice because adding a player like Marvin Harrison Jr. makes, it actually now gets more weapons for Kyler, but not just that. We have Trey McBride. We got Michael Wilson heading into his second year. Greg Dortch is finally going to get an opportunity. And then we got James Conner, one of the best running backs in the NFL. Per my opinion, as long as he could stay healthy, still runs hard, still very aggressive, putting his head down, and just a really, really good overall running back for the Arizona Cardinals. So we could potentially be a very, very good team. And I'm not saying if we don't get Marvin Harrison Jr. or we're not going to be a good team, but I feel like getting a player like that is almost, I don't know, it almost changes the identity of the Arizona Cardinals. Can we still be a run-heavy team? Yeah, we still can be. But adding a weapon like Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to put fear, right? Or at least put a second thought in these defensive coordinators whenever they are going to play the Arizona Cardinals, because now you're worried about Kyler Murray running out of the pocket. You're worried about the deep threat Marvin Harrison Jr. getting open. You're worried about the Trey McBride beast of a tight end being opened up the middle, right? And then you got Greg Dortch, Michael Wilson heading into his second year that had 500 plus yards in his rookie year. I truly think that this team could be good. It could be very, very good. Now, do I think the Arizona Cardinals will double dip in wide receivers? Yes, I think they will double dip in wide receivers, as they should. So there's a lot of opinions out there, right? When you hear Monti Ossenfort, it almost kind of feels like he says the same things over and over again, but it's the truth. Like, Monti doesn't truly know, right? He is the man that's going to be making these decisions, but he doesn't know what's going to happen with the first three picks. He doesn't know. We can speculate as fans that I think, right? Me personally, I'm talking about Mike speaking, right? I'm talking about me. I think it's going to be quarterback. And then that leaves the Arizona Cardinals for the opportunity to open up to get their guy in Marvin Harrison Jr. That's my opinion. That's what I think is going to happen. But truth of the nature is we don't really officially 100% know until the day of the draft. The day of the draft is going to be really speaking volumes of what Monti can actually do. But like we saw in that clip, Monti Ossenfort has everything on the table still. Like, everything is still on the table for us. And that's a really good way to look into it, right? The Cardinals are really, really in a good position. They truly are. Will we draft Marvin Harrison Jr.? Will we trade back for the Hall? We're going to find out here in about 6 days. Super, super exciting. Now, we are going to continue to talk about the trade back options. Now, one of the biggest things I want to talk about here right now, I guess not a big thing, but when you look at this list in terms of the teams that I compiled here, in terms of the best trade back options for the Cardinals, Vikings, Broncos, Giants, and Raiders, all these guys are on this list because of the idea of them being a quarterback needy team. Now, we ended up hearing Sean Payton come out and talk about the thought of, should his organization trade up for a quarterback? And this is exactly what Sean Payton said about, I believe it was yesterday. This is exactly what Sean Payton said about potentially trading up.
Do we have to draft a quarterback? You'd say, man, it sure looks like we have to draft a quarterback. And yet it's got to be the right fit, the right one. And if we had the tip sheets as to who everyone else was taking, it'd be easier to answer that question.
What you don't want to do, Mike, is force it. And, otherwise we'll be in this position next year and the years after. So you want to get the right player at 12. Our first pick we got to hit on, whether it's a quarterback, whether it's a tackle, receiver, you name it. We need to get an impact player.
And that's exactly the type of answers you're going to be getting all across the NFL. As the same type of answers you're going to be getting all across the NFL, ladies and gentlemen. They don't know. They don't know. You would think a multi-billion-dollar organization or every NFL GM would know, privy to all this. They don't know. They don't know, right? Now, it's worse for the Broncos because they're sitting at 12. We're sitting at 4. You know what I mean? So I can only imagine how much more unknown is it for a team like the Denver Broncos, just for example, right? Because they're sitting at 12. Well, the Arizona Cardinals right there are sitting or at 4 at that very moment. So just to kind of give you a glimpse of, what these GMs, coaches, everything like that, they don't know. They don't know. What we know as Cardinal fans is that we want Marvin Harrison Jr. That's something that we do know, right? As you could tell here, we got people here in the chat already saying, come on, Monty, bring Marv home, right? Hello, guys from Italy, no trade, Marvin Harrison Jr. See, this is exactly what we've been hearing, for quite some time. It's just, don't even worry about it, right? We got 11 picks in this draft. Get the best player available. Don't be greedy, right? Just get the guy that can very, very well be a generational talent for the Arizona Cardinals, right? This is our current draft picks for the 2024 NFL draft. And as you can tell, we are set for success. And with that 4th overall pick for the Arizona Cardinals. So yeah, it's a lot, man. It really is. Monti Ossenfort, I believe, is going to put us in the best position to succeed, right? Is this going to be a long haul? It might, right? But we got to remember, this is the second year of Monty and JG. That's what we got to remember. The second year of Monty and JG. But I want to say one thing real quick. I want to say one thing real quick here, ladies and gentlemen. The fact that we just heard what Sean Payton had to say, and I want to kind of play this clip back one more time when he was asked about, should we get a quarterback, right? Let me play this clip back one more time.
Do we have to draft a quarterback? You'd say, man, it sure looks like we have to draft a quarterback. And yet it's got to be the right fit, the right one. And if we had the tip sheets as to who everyone else was taking, it'd be easier to answer that question.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you.
So, you know what I mean? It's just, it's one of those things here, ladies and gentlemen, that like listening to Sean Payton talk, let me know here in the chat if you guys agree with me here. Do you guys, I remember last year or the year before when we hired Jonathan Gannon, and I was one of those guys as well, that I was very, very big on Sean Payton. Who's happy that we didn't get Sean Payton? Let me know here in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Has your mind changed? Do you still, or did you kind of still have a lingering thought in your mind that Sean Payton should have been an Arizona Cardinal head coach? Honestly, this is one of those things where I'm so glad we didn't go for him. I'm so glad we didn't go for him, because with what he did to the Broncos, I don't know if I would be backing the rash decisions that he's made so far in this organization in the 1 year that he's been there. I'm so glad we didn't go that route. I get it. I was covering this story to the T, to the fact that I was like, oh, I want Sean Payton. I want Sean Payton. He's a Super Bowl head coach, right? I'm so glad we didn't go that route. Man, I'm so glad we didn't go that route. I'm so happy we have Jonathan Gannon. And I think the way that this is being billed is actually a respectable way. And the fact that Russell Wilson literally just got cut and dry just like that is very, very interesting, because now they're finding themselves of quarterbackless organization, right? So I don't know. To me, I'm happy we didn't go that route. I'm glad Jonathan Gannon's here. I really do like Jonathan Gannon. I feel like he is a new style breed of head coach that Sean Payton isn't. Sean Payton is an old school head type of football guy that if it's not done his way, he's going to react. And I don't think that would fit this style of culture we're trying to build here. I think the Arizona Cardinals organization is trying to do right by the players, where we're trying to listen into what the players actually want. And I think Jonathan Gannon is a better head coach for this type of culture / style, and just kind of the new way of the way that the NFL is trending. I'm so glad we didn't get Sean Payton. I just want to make sure I'm fully aware of saying that. But we got my guy in the chat says I would have cut like yeah, maybe. You never know. You never know. But yeah. All right, let's continue to talk. All right, let's get off the Sean Payton thing. Let's continue to talk here. So trading back, right? Let's talk about the trade back, because I think that's exactly what we're talking about here. The rumors that what I've been hearing so far have slowed down. I think the rumors are still out there, right? The plant has, or at least the seed is still planted pertaining to the Cardinals, right? Are they going to trade back or not? Like, the seed is still planted. It's just, I don't think it's as loud as it once was, right? I don't think it's as loud as it once was. A few things that I'm hearing right now is the fact that the Cardinals might not be trading back anymore is kind of what I've been hearing, is that the Cardinals might not trade back. Now, please keep in mind, right? We just heard a clip from Monti Ossenfort, and he doesn't know, right? We don't know up until the draft. The way we'll officially know, and you're going to hear a lot of reports, you're going to hear a lot of tweets, you're going to hear a lot of opinions. Take that with a grain of salt. Take it the way you want to take it. That's completely fine. But here's it. Monty doesn't even know, right? But one thing that we do know is the fact that we heard another rumor out there saying that because the Arizona Cardinals want 3 first-round picks, it might not be as attainable as we thought it might have been, right? Because the 3 first-round picks came from the thought of the Vikings, right? The Vikings have 2 first-round picks this year, and then they have a first-round pick next year, right? So that's kind of where the 3 first-round picks came from, because realistically, can the Arizona Cardinals get that much draft capital? I mean, the 49ers got it, right? The 49ers got it when they ended up trading up for Trey Lance. And I believe they moved from like 12, I believe, or 11 to 3 to get Trey Lance. And they gave up a lot of draft capital to go up to 3 alone. So is it possible? Yes, it is. We've seen it before happen, but I'm not sure if the Vikings are going to want to do that anymore. At least that's what we're kind of hearing. Another team that could potentially be a trade back option is literally the teams right below the Cardinals and right above the Cardinals. Those are the teams that are potential trade back options for the NFL draft. And I'm talking about Minnesota for the most part, right? Because you got Denver with the thought of, can they actually trade up still? And you also got Vegas out there as well, because I'm putting Vegas there because of the thought of they're a quarterback needy team. Like, let's just call it like it is. They're a quarterback needy team. And then you also got the Giants. I'm putting the Giants there because of the idea that I heard a rumor saying that they really like JJ. I heard that rumor that they really, really like JJ McCarthy. And if he falls, they might pick him up. So there's that, right? But now we're hearing that other potential trade up options or potential trade back candidates can be the New England Patriots and the Chargers. Harbaugh is a new head coach, right? We heard that he would love the idea of getting all this draft capital. We heard that. Just something similar to what Monti Ossenfort did last year. Because let's be honest, the expectation for 2023 was nothing. The expectation, it was nothing. It was nothing at all. So Monty washed that year. He got so much draft capital and set us up for this year. But now we're hearing the Chargers could potentially be a trade back option, or even New England could be a trade back option for, just getting out of that position. I think more realistic would be the Chargers because they got their quarterback. I think New England needs to get a quarterback personally, but it's just one of those things where we're going to have to kind of wait to see how this all falls. I think if Drake May's go, or if Drake May is there at 3, the Patriots will go after Drake May personally. If it's Jaden McDaniels there, or sorry, Jaden Daniels, then they might trade out. I don't know. I see Jaden going more to the Commanders. I see Jaden going more to the Commanders than I do the Patriots. But that doesn't mean that they won't pick him up, right? They're a quarterback needy team as well. So that's kind of what we've been hearing as well. Like the Cardinals aren't the only ones that can trade back. So does that lose value? Yes, it kind of does, but it's kind of like a game of chicken. If we're sitting there with the 4th overall pick in the NFL draft and we're on the clock, right? If we're sitting there at the 4th overall pick and we're on the clock, and the Patriots gone, they got their quarterback, things can change very, very quickly in the NFL. Things can change very, very quickly here in the NFL. So, I don't know. It's a lot out there, right? It's a lot. Now, here's another scenario that was pitched. Now, here's the funny thing. I ended up coming up with this, so I didn't come up with this scenario, but I also did talk about this probably about a week or 2 ago. There was a thought out there, and I want to get your guys' opinion here in the chat as well. If there's anything here you want to strike up a conversation about, definitely let me know here in the chat. But we ended up seeing a mock draft not too long ago. I believe it was from Peter Schrager. And he got a lot of flack for this mock draft. But I'm not really focusing on exactly what he did for everybody else, but what he did for the Arizona Cardinals. Let's talk about this real quick. There was a thought that the Arizona Cardinals can trade out of that 4th overall pick with the Giants, right? Now, this doesn't surprise me, right? Because I've been talking about this for, like, the Giants have been on my list for quite some time, right? The Giants have been on my list for quite some time. But basically, he said in this mock draft that we can trade to 6, right? Get the Giants up to 4 and have them get their quarterback of the future if that's what they're leaning towards. Maybe pick up a 2nd round pick, maybe getting another late round pick, right? Moving back 2 spots. And then the Arizona Cardinals getting Rome Odunze, right? Rome Odunze is so intriguing. I'm not going to lie to you, ladies and gentlemen. Now, to me right now, if you're picking at 4, if it's 4, it's Marvin Harrison Jr. It's what it is, right? Because during the draft, you also got to look at value, right? Wide receiver, I know it's seen as a luxury pick, right? It's seen as one of those things where I've heard people saying, well, the quarterbacks aren't a wide receiver away. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that they're not a wide receiver away. They still can get a potential top 5, top 10 wide receiver in the NFL. You're telling me that you're not going to go after that? Especially with our wide receiving core looking as bad as it is? Or I guess not bad, but looking as what it is? You still got to go after the guy that's going to change your team, right? So that was pitched out there. That idea was pitched out there for the Arizona Cardinals to potentially trade back to 6. Let's say, for example, the Giants get themselves J.J. McCarthy, right? The 4 quarterbacks go. Let's say, for example, Marvin Harrison Jr. goes at 5. I've heard a lot of rumors, too, that that Malik Neighbors is very, very favorited with the Chargers. I don't know if it's true. I also heard the fact that they really like Joe Alt, too. So maybe the Cardinals are going to play a gambling game. Let's see who falls to us at 6, because Roman's really the guy that we like after Marvin. So maybe that is what it is, right? Maybe we recoup another 2nd. Maybe that's the game the Cardinals are going to play. I don't know. There's just so many different things being thrown out there. I don't mind Rome Odunze personally. I really, really don't mind Rome Odunze. I like Rome Odunze. But if you're picking 4, it's Marvin for me. It's Marvin for me. If you trade back to 6 and Marvin's not there, Rome Odunze. Right? If you move back to 6 and Marvin Harrison is there, you get Marvin Harrison Jr. because he's still on the clock or still on the board. So, like, This is an exciting time. I just want to tell you, this is an exciting time, ladies and gentlemen. This is an exciting time. Let's take it to the comments here. We have a guy here in the chat says, I want my Harrison jersey already. Yeah, I am currently working on my old Fire Keim jersey. I'm going to convert that to a Marvin Harrison jersey myself, and then obviously cop one as they come out if he is the pick for the Arizona Cardinals. Let's continue with the chat here. Kevin, never say never. Let's see here. I think that he might be talking to somebody here, but let's keep it with the chat here. Only valid reason to trade back with New York is that the Cards see Malik or Odunze as a better fit than Harrison. Yeah, true. That's true. No, that's true. That's true. I mean, if Marvin's your guy, right? If Marvin is the number one for you, you take him, right? You take him. Now we're kind of hearing that the Cardinals most likely will be picking and staying at 4 because with what we want back is not going to be attainable, is what we're hearing, right? It's the kind of the stuff that we're hearing. And I'm pretty sure you guys are hearing the same thing out there as well. With what the Cardinals want, I don't think people are willing to give the King's ransom to move the 4. Okay, that's fine. We'll stay. We'll stay. We'll stay where we're at and pick up one of the best wide receivers in this draft. What do you think about what Chubb said? We give the Cowboys 27th for CeeDee Lamb. See, here's the thing. With the whole CeeDee Lamb conversation, I don't think CeeDee Lamb's going to get traded away. I don't like humoring the fact of CeeDee Lamb because I don't think a CeeDee Lamb's attainable. I get where people are coming from, and it might have been people that were very high on CeeDee Lamb coming into the draft and didn't want Isaiah Simmons, me being one of those. I'm not sure if you guys were rocking with me back then, but myself, I used to say a lot of things like the Arizona Cardinals need to get CeeDee Lamb, get the guy that Kyler Murray is comfortable with, and we didn't do that, right? But although I was very, very high on CeeDee Lamb, I don't want to sell you guys a bag of goods when I don't think there's even anything remotely going to happen like that. I don't think the Cowboys are going to give up CeeDee Lamb. I truly don't. I know he didn't show up to OTAs. I know he's probably looking for a contract extension, and as he should, right? These wide receivers are getting paid earlier. They're not waiting till the 5th year anymore. So it's just kind of the trend. It's what's been happening. I don't think the Arizona Cardinals are going to do that. Will I give up the 27th overall for CeeDee Lamb? If you get Marvin at 4, it's just, I don't know. There's just so many holes on this team. I don't know. Like, it's just, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't want to wrap my mind around the idea of it because I don't think it's going to happen. If I was the Cowboys, I wouldn't do it. If I was the Cowboys, I wouldn't do it. So, like, I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't mind trading up from 27, 35 for Arnold or Wiggins. Honestly, I don't know if you guys saw my mock draft. I did a mock draft here where the Arizona Cardinals were able to attain wide receiver 1 and CB1. I'm not sure if you guys saw that mock draft, but I'm probably going to redo it again here pretty soon because I really like the idea of the Arizona Cardinals trading up from 27. I really, really like the idea of that. Now, here's a couple different scenarios the Arizona Cardinals can do too, right? The Arizona Cardinals, the 4th, we're talking about that where it's just over and over again, right? For the 20, let's talk about the 27th for a second. Let's talk about the 27th for a second. Here are my top picks I would love the Arizona Cardinals to get with the 27th overall. Now, obviously, it really just depends on who falls, right? Terrion Arnold is not going to fall at 27. I don't think he's going to. Byron Murphy probably won't fall to 27. Maybe. Jazon Newton, I've done a lot of mock drafts where he does fall. I don't know if that's realistic or not, right? We don't know. Who I would really love the Arizona Cardinals to potentially go after in the 27th overall pick, regardless if you trade up or stay at 27, these are the top players that I would love the Arizona Cardinals to potentially get with that 27th overall. Like I said, if they trade up, cool. If they don't and they stay at 27, cool too. These are the players I want the Arizona Cardinals to potentially get with that 27th overall pick. Chop Robinson. Love Chop Robinson. Because that could be edge one for the Cardinals, potentially. Terrion Arnold with the trade up. Jazon Newton, if he falls. I know, I do so many mock drafts and he's there. I don't know why. Jazon Newton if he falls. Byron Murphy, the second. I guess you could throw Nate Wiggins in there. We could throw Nate Wiggins in there for a potential, let's see, he can kind of put some more meat on his bones, right? Potential CB1. Those are the five I was going to say wide receivers. I apologize. Those are the five prospects I would love the Arizona Cardinals to potentially get with that 27th overall. Now, please keep in mind, we could trade up to potentially land one of those guys, or you could stay at 27, because out of that list, you might have one of those guys fall to you, right? Let me rename them again. Chop Robinson, Terrion Arnold, let's throw Nate Wiggins in there as a flyer, Jazon Newton or Byron Murphy. That's what I would love the Cardinals. If they go offensive lineman, okay, cool. I'm cool with that too. If they go center, okay, cool. I'm cool with that too. But that's what I would really, really, really love the Arizona Cardinals to do with that 27th overall. Wiggins is cool. Like, I'm okay with Wiggins, but I really, really want Terrion Arnold. I really want Terrion Arnold personally. That's what I would love the Arizona Cardinals to do at that 27th. We know what we all want at 4, right? We all know what we want at 4. But can you imagine leaving day 1 with the Arizona Cardinals getting their wide receiver 1, whether that's Adunze, whether that's Neighbors, or whether that's Marvin Harrison Jr.? Just imagine this in a real quick world. The Arizona Cardinals leaving day 1 of the NFL draft, they get either Rome Odunze, Malik Neighbors, or Marvin Harrison Jr. I know we all prefer Marvin. I get it. But I'm just saying, we got our wide receiver 1, and you get one of those other guys, Chop Robinson, Terrion Arnold. We could throw Nate Wiggins in there, Jazon Newton, Byron Murphy the second. Come on. You can't say no to that. Or at least I won't say no to that. But here we are, right? We got my guy here on the chat says, why are you so high on Chop Robinson? 5.5 sacks, 3 hurries. That's a fair question. I like the upside of Chop Robinson. I love the idea of how fast he ran on the 40 and the fact that kind of watching the tape, this guy has an endless motor. This guy is very, very vicious off the line. And with what we heard, right, with what we're hearing, the Cardinals like Chop Robinson too. I don't think they think he's edge 1. But with where you're at 27, if you're not going to trade up for a Dallas Turner, right? If you're not going to trade up for a Jared Verse, you're kind of left with or Latu, right? Because I know the Cardinals really like Latu as well. I'm just kind of giving you in a scenario where I feel like the Cardinals could potentially get a real good steal at that 27th overall with Chop. Obviously, I would give you Dallas Turner, right? In those 5. I would give you Dallas Turner, I would give you Latu, but the thing is that I don't think the Cardinals are going to be able to attain him. Does that make sense? I like Chop Robinson because of the upside. I like his ferocious hands. I like the fact that his jump off the line. I like the fact that he runs a quick 40. I feel like this kid is still very young and has got a potential to be very, very good in the NFL. Do I have other edges higher? Yes, of course I do. But with the 27th overall, I can't say I would love the Cardinals to get Dallas Turner at 27 because I just don't think it's possible. I don't think it's also possible to get Latu. Maybe he does fall. We don't know. But I feel like Chop is attainable. I feel like if the Cardinals do decide to trade up for Terrion Arnold, I feel like that's possible because maybe you might get him somewhere in 15, 16, 17. And then Jazon Newton, he might fall. Multiple mock drafts. For some reason, he falls. I don't know why. I like Byron Murphy. And kind of the rest is there from there. So my guy in the chat says, is Chop a D tackle or an edge? He is edge. Defensive end. Yeah, I guess obviously just depending on the scheme, right? I guess that's what the scheme, that's kind of when you're asking, right? He's not in an interior, if that's what you're asking. He's a defensive end technically, but like I said, it's interchangeable in what formation you're coming out of, right? The 4-3-3-4, that type of stuff. So he is primarily a guy that rushes QBs. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. He's not an interior. He is listed as a defensive end, but also edge, just really depending on what form or scheme the defense plays. And we know our defense is interchangeable. We've heard Jonathan Gannon come out and verbatim and say our defense is interchangeable. So there's that. A guy in the chat says trade with Minneapolis. Minnesota. I apologize. We trade with Minnesota, and we would get Addison. Okay. I mean, that's you're good. You're good. Jordan Addison would be nice. But I still want to get one of the top 3 wideouts. I do like Jordan Addison. I really, really do like Jordan Addison. He had a really good rookie campaign. I just don't know if I think the Vikings are trying to set up their quarterback. They're trying to set up their quarterback to where Caleb Williams seems to be in a really good situation. I think the Minnesota Vikings are also in that situation where they're trying to do the same. They're trying to set up what quarterback is going to have Justin Jefferson and then Jordan Addison as well. So, although I love the idea, I just don't think it's realistic. Verse might drop enough for us to trade up and get him without giving up too much. I like that. Yeah, no, I like that idea as well. Oh, facts. Oh, absolutely. I like Jared Verse too. It's just, I guess that's true. I mean, if I'm talking about, potential trade up for Terry and Arnold, why not for Jared Verse? Yeah, that's facts. No, that's true. I do like Jared Verse too. I think Jared Verse is a very, very good prospect as well. It's just what the Arizona Cardinals are going to favor, right? What are the Arizona Cardinals going to favor? And who's the best fit? He had back-to-back 9-sack seasons, right? 6'4", 260. Yeah, I mean, I would love to add a Jared Verse too. That's factual. We got my guy in the chat, K1 says, might as well get Randy Moss too at this point. I think he's talking about the trade with Minnesota, I'm only assuming. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. But yeah, Jared Verse would be nice too. I think Turner is going to be the first edge player off the board. I think Turner is going to be the very first one off the board. But I think after that, and that's the thing too, like he might even get picked up at like 9, 10, or 11. Yeah. Maybe the Cardinals can trade up. For a Jared Verse. I love the idea of a trade up with that 27th overall pick. I love the idea of potentially getting your edge 1 or your cornerback 1. I love the idea of it. I think it's a great. I think it's not far-fetched to think that the Arizona Cardinals can do something like that. I think it's not far-fetched that the Arizona Cardinals could definitely do something like that for sure. Now, for the new people here in the chat, appreciate you all for tuning in. Today, what we're talking about is the latest comments about Monti Ossenfort and if he has heard from teams potentially trading up to the 4th overall pick. We're going to go do another real quick clip of his comments and what he has said. This is what Monti Ossenfort said in his recent press conference with the media.
Talks with multiple teams, and multiple teams have checked in with us. And, I think the way I look at it is like, guys, I love my house. I love where I live, okay? My wife loves where we live. If all of a sudden there's a knock on my door and someone's going to offer me something and I'm going to look and see what they're offering me. And if I open that up and it's something I'm not expecting, hey, Shannon, let's go pack up. It's time to roll. Okay, so, I think, that happens beforehand. It happens on the clock. But, I think, different teams have different motivations, but we'll see how this one plays out next week.
We will see how this one plays out next week. It is similar, man. You guys say the same. I say the same thing too, right? And that's why a lot of my videos, a lot of people comment. The amount of the times you say we will see at the end of the day, it's if you take a shot every time I say that, you probably get drunk because I say it because it's the truth. It's the truth. We don't know. Monty's even coming out here and says he doesn't know. Right? So I wouldn't expect anything different here. The Cardinals, still all options on the table. The smoke seems to have died down to the point where we're not talked about so much anymore because of two other teams coming up here to potentially be trade-up candidates, right? The Patriots and the Chargers. And you sit here and tell me, right? You sit here and tell me, if you were the Patriots and the Chargers, would you want to get 2 first-round picks, 11 and 23? You got a brand new regime. You got no quarterback. You probably would, right? You got a new head coach. They probably want to get more picks. This is probably a wash year for them as well. Like the Cardinals were a wash year in 2023, right? But the other thing is that Justin Herbert's there. Well, I guess I said they have no quarterback. The Chargers have a quarterback. I'm sorry. The Chargers have a quarterback. New England doesn't have a quarterback, but the new regime is there, right? The new regime is there. Potentially want to get some assets. So the Cardinals aren't the only trade back option. That's basically what I'm trying to say. We're not the only trade back option. And I don't mind that at all. I prefer it. I prefer us not being that because it's not us or bust. It's not us or bust. And that's the number one and most important thing. It's not us or bust. So I want the Cardinals to stay at 4. That's the reason why I say what I say. But let's go ahead and take a look here at the best trade back options for the Arizona Cardinals again. Now, I did make this graphic about 3-4 weeks ago. Now, please keep in mind that if I were to be asked right now, I probably would be moving the Giants with the Broncos at 2 in terms of the most realistic. But these are still my trade back options for the Arizona Cardinals. Now, I did see something here on the chat that I want to kind of talk about here, and I believe it was from where'd it go? Oh, I guess it's not here. Oh, here it is. Yeah, from Zach. What's up, Zach? Appreciate y'all for being here, by the way. He says this: would love to see us move back with the New York Giants for 6, 47, and 70. Grab a Dunze if they move off of Daniels. Yeah, I mean, there's a real possibility that the Giants might move off of Daniels. Maybe not this year, right? Maybe not this year, but the plan of moving off of Daniels might be set into play. And I've heard that JJ McCarthy, that they really, really like JJ McCarthy in New York Giants. So yeah, it's not a bad option, right? I've done a mock draft where I've done that before. And I think that my mock draft actually came out after my mock draft. I'm sorry, I apologize. My mock draft came out before Peter Schrager's mock draft came out. And I said that now during my mock draft, Marvin got taken at 3. So I moved to 6 and still got Rome Odunze. I still do think Rome Odunze is a better fit for the Cardinals than Malik. If we get Malik, I'm cool with it. I'm happy with it. We're all going to be happy for Malik Neighbors. It's just, I feel like Rome is probably a better fit. It's either Marv or Rome for the Cardinals to me. I like Malik. If we get Malik Neighbors, I'm on board too. It's just, I feel like best fits is going to be the other two personally. So yeah, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad. If we do trade back to 6 and Marvin's not there, then yeah, we're getting Rome is realistic too, because I do like Rome Odunze as well. Let's keep it with the chat here. Appreciate y'all for being here. By the way, if you guys haven't already, smack the like button on your way in. Definitely do me that huge favor, especially here in the YouTube world. Right now, we're sitting with 27 likes, under 30 with over 80 people watching. And I think we have a total of over 150 watching. And that's going to be YouTube plus X/Twitter. So appreciate y'all for being here. By the way, smack up the like button here. Appreciate y'all for being here, by the way. And let's take it over to the comments. And let's see what y'all have to say. We got Adrian says, ever since Monty said we are open to trade the 4th, everyone thinks we'll pass on Marvin Harrison Jr. to get draft picks. Yeah, unfortunately, you know what? Unfortunately, but I understand why Monty said that, right? And I'm not saying you don't understand that. I think you do understand that. But yeah, I understand why Monty said it. You don't want to come into the draft. You don't want to come into the draft saying we know what we're gonna do, right? Unless you're Chicago. unless you're Chicago and you're like, we're going to get Caleb freaking Williams, right? You're number one. There's nobody that's going to jump you. You have the first overall option in the 2024 NFL draft. You can come out and say that. You can come out and say, yes, we're picking up this guy. The Cardinals, unfortunately, we're sitting at 4. Although a lot of people believe that's where the draft starts, we still have to kind of keep our cards close to our chest, right? We know Monti Ossenfort is going to listen, just like he said in the clip that we ended up playing twice on the stream, right? He loves his house. He loves where he lives. But if somebody comes knocking on his door and offers him something that he can't refuse, he's going to listen. He's going to hear it. He's going to see what is on the table. But if you really think about it here, you got to ask yourself, is 11 and 23, are those players you're going to be getting at 11 and 23 if the Cardinals decide to stay there and maybe a potential first next year or a potential third or a second, whatever we get next year, right? You got to really ask yourself, are those guys at 11 and 23 going to give you the production that this man will give you? That's what you got to ask yourself. Are they going to give you excitement to your fan base that a Marvin Harrison Jr. will? Because you also got to ask yourself, is those guys going to be in your organization for 5 to 6 to 7 to 8 plus years? That's what you got to ask yourself. Look at the first round picks in 2023. Look at the first round picks in 2022. Look at the first round picks in 2021. And really look at who is still in the league. Really look at who's a superstar, who's a star, who's a starter, who's a placeholder. I almost promise you, most people that get picked up in the first round are not superstars. And that's what people forget. That's what people seem to forget. We should stay at 4, and we've heard this multiple times. We've heard multiple people come out and say that the Cardinals are going to stay at 4, right? We've heard multiple people come out here and say the Arizona Cardinals are going to stay at 4. And I actually believe it. I do believe the Cardinals will stay at 4 unless something drastic is given to you. And I'm talking about a king's ransom that you cannot refuse. We've already given it out there. We want 3 first-round picks, especially you, Minnesota. You're out of the top 10. You want to move here. We want 3 first-round picks and maybe then some. If you're not willing to give us that, we're staying at 4. So the conversation still needs to be had, right? The conversation still needs to be said and to be had. But the fact of the matter is that the Arizona Cardinals don't need to move from 4. We don't need to. I want our first round pick to be generational. I want our first round pick to be with our organization for 5, 6, 8 plus years in this organization as a staple point, just like our great Larry Fitzgerald. That's what I'm looking for. Can you get that at 11? Can you get that at 23? I say no. I mean, Justin Jefferson was picked up, 22nd overall? One of the best wide receivers in the NFL. It's kind of an anomaly, though. You don't see that very often. Just like C.J. Stroud, one of the best rookie years we've seen in quite some time, had a playoff run and a playoff win. You don't see that very often. They're the unicorns, like people say, right? Marvin Harrison Jr. might be a unicorn, ladies and gentlemen. And I fear that if we miss out on Marvin Harrison Jr., then we're always going to be kicking ourselves. We're always going to be kicking ourselves. So get Marvin Harrison Jr. is what I'm saying. Get Marvin. No way else to explain it but that. There's some people out there that are saying trading is an option. We also heard people out there saying that the Cardinals are staying at 4. At the end of the day, somebody's going to be right. Somebody's going to be right, right? I just hope he's in an Arizona Cardinal uniform in 6 days. That's the only thing I can hope for. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are hitting the hour mark. I absolutely appreciate every one of you guys for being here today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. If you guys didn't, I apologize. If you guys did enjoy the show, definitely do me a huge favor. Smack up the like button. Do it for the algorithm. Appreciate y'all for tuning in as always. Latest on a possible trade down for the Arizona Cardinals. Has the smoke died down? In my opinion, I do feel like it has died down, but it is still out there per Monti Ossenfort. He loves his house, but if somebody gives him an option to trade him out and buy it from him, he will listen. He will hear. All right, we're going to go ahead and close it up here. Boys, go Cards.